he said, the reason I let it go backwards.
Come on now.
Because going backwards means that he's going back in time.
Yes.
Come on. He said, the sign was the sun going back.
Yes.
Meaning he's taking the time clock of your life and he's rewinding it back.
Yes.
So what God said was this. He said, really, son, the 15 years that I added to his life wasn't 15 new years. It was 15 more years to relive the last 15 years that he was sick. Y'all missed that. In other words, God said, I'm about to restore back the time. He said, for every year that you was broke, I'm going to give you that many more years to be rich. God, I wish I had a church. For every year that you was sick, I'm going to give you that many more years to live in healing. For every year that you was in a situation where your mind was confused, your heart was broken, he said, I'm going to restore to you 15 more years to relive those years of joy. And so Hezekiah had made up in his mind that God, if you're going to do it, I need a sign. God sent a sign to Hezekiah and he said, Hezekiah, I'm getting ready to restore back the time. Why don't you look at that neighbor that's sitting next to you and say, neighbor, oh neighbor. Oh, come on, y'all sound like a bunch of kids. Act like you're grown and say, neighbor, oh neighbor. Tell them God is getting ready to restore the time. I can't hear nobody in here. I say, God is getting ready to restore the time. I'll tell you when I'm ready. And he said, Hezekiah, I'm getting ready to give everything that you lost. Yes, I'm going to give it right back to you. Look at that neighbor and say, neighbor. Come on, say, oh, neighbor. Say everything that you lost. Say before the year is out. Yes, God's about to give it back to you. Come on, throw your hand up and shout yes. Shout yes. And so Hezekiah cried unto the Lord, and he said that God heard my cry. I like the way the old folks say that he may not come when you want him to come, Keisha, but he'll be there right on time. Somebody high five your neighbor and say, I know he's on time. They said that Jesus is on the main line. Yes, you ought to just call him up. Yes, and tell him what you want. Hezekiah said that God, I know that I'm sick. He said, God, I know that I'm in trouble. God, I know that the devil wants to kill me. But come on, pull on your neighbor and say, neighbor, tell him it ain't over until God says it's over. Shout yes! I wish I had a Pentecostal church. Shout yes! And so God said, Hezekiah, I'm going to give you all of the time that you lost back. Every day that you was miserable, I'm going to give it back. Every day that you was sad, I'm going to give it back. Every day that you wasn't happy, I'm going to give it back. Every day that you cried, I'm going to give it back. Come on, grab that neighbor by the hand and say, oh, my brother, and oh, my sister, tell them I got a word for you. And the word is that weeping may endure for church. Outside